That was Mishling. You're on Night Train Radio, not TV anymore. The radio. Mate, how are you?
I'm well. You know how I am. I'm hungover as fuck.
You are, buddy.
We'll
What's new?
I've had 2 hours sleep and I'm ready to roll.
Fucking that's the way to be prepared for your very first podcast.
Professionalism at its best.
That's it, mate. Now, listen, we've got a super special podcast today. We've got some very special guests, some guys that have been around for a fucking long time.
You may have just heard them. 2 seconds.
May have just heard them. If you haven't, you hear some more later on. Guys, we are joined by Doc and Simo from Mishling. Boys, how are you?
Unreal, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Fucking excellent. Thank you so much for coming along. Doc, I can't see you over the mic. I'm sorry, mate. So I am looking at you.
Yeah, it's because I'm vertically challenged, brother.
Well, Lenny offered you a phone book, I heard. So
He did.
look, thanks heaps for coming. How's it been?
Unreal. Yeah, it's been a hectic couple of years and, you know.
Now, no pressure.
I don't remember any of it.
No pressure. You are the first guest, so don't fuck it up.
Yeah, well, you know, I've got the VB here.
You'll be right. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
It's my teddy bear for the night.
So tell us, I guess we're going to talk about Mishling today, and I guess we're also going to branch into a little bit of the Maitland music scene, which no one seems to fucking know exists, which blows my mind. Everyone raves about Newey, no one knows about Maitland. Tell us
Maitland is a much bigger scene, I think, than Newcastle at the moment.
I think Maitland became a scene that Newcastle players wanted to be part of.
Yeah.
Wouldn't admit it. They had their little scene, but Maitland had a raw scene, and it still is raw. Mm-hmm. There just seems to be this weird transition of musicians between Newcastle and Maitland. I think Maitland, yeah, it feels like everyone supports everyone in Maitland, whereas in Newcastle it feels...
Bit of a competition.
And people resent other people playing good.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think that happens so much, Randy.
Well, there's no scene without bands, so tell us a bit about Mishling.
Well, you know, where do we start? Do you want to start at the start?
Well, when did you start? I mean, I remember being a young bloke watching you guys when I was, I think, 11, 12 years old at the Queen's Arms, and I know that was close to some of your first gigs. So how long has it been?
Well, I think we got together about 95, right? And is that right, Doco?
Nah.
94?
Nah. Oh, nah.
87.
remember it, man. Like, yeah.
I thought it was more or less... it might have been like the tail end of 95. And then 96, we started to...
I still remember the first time it happened, that I had seen this guy playing, and I'll never forget it, actually. I always tell this story, and it's worthy. Rutherford High School, right? And I was there with a partner at the time, and her sister was in year 12, and that's why we tagged along. I don't usually go to year 12. but this night I did.
It was a different time. It was a different time back then. Anyway.
Yeah, well, you know, it's more accepted now, I guess. But
Well,
I hope it is.
It's a gateway to being a president, I believe.
It's not good if you play footy, though, apparently.
No, well, you know,
Your
like,
job's fucked if you do that.
look, it's only the shorts that worries them. Yeah. So anyway,
Back to high school.
Yeah, I went to watch this band play, and you know, it's presentation night. And anyway, Doco and Smithy were playing in this band. I think it was Tuesday. Was it Tuesday?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's what they were called, and it was like
I thought you were going to say it was a Tuesday. I was like, how the fuck?
Well, I
do you
think it was a Tuesday night. They were called Tuesday. I think they named it on the day.
They covered Ruby Tuesday.
Yeah, the teacher said, no, we'll just call it Tuesday. Yeah, I remember, yeah. If you knew Smithy, you would have known, no one would have understood the name, so they just called it Tuesday. So anyway, they're playing along, and what nailed it for me was, I was looking for someone to play with a little bit heavier. And I'd been playing hard rock and all this sort of stuff. And it got to the point where I was sitting there going, well, I do want to play a bit heavier. So anyway, I thought, well, I need someone with double kick ability, you know. And Pantera was coming out in the scene. I was getting pretty inspired by that, pretty inspired by Faith No More and what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I wanted Doco to be part of the band. After that night, I saw him and I saw Smithy. And so anyway, I thought about this bloke and I was like, oh, no, he's a bit young, you know, year 12 and all that sort of thing. And anyway, So the next, I didn't sort of go chase him, and the next time I saw him was a Queen's Arms gig. And basically what happened that night was I got to witness this guy with a broken arm, strapped up and playing one arm.
Fuck.
You know? And
I can't play with two.
well, I think it's like skiing, you know, it's easy on one. So so he pulled it off, and he was, you know, playing for a few young fellas that night. It was a different band to what they were the first time I'd seen him. And basically, I remember sitting there for a couple of blokes at the bar, back bar, of course, you know, right near the window there. And anyway, we're standing there, and the three of us are in awe. And one of them's myself, one's Chad McCamley, and one was Mick Rudder. And that's how well I remember it. You know what I mean? It was one of those moments I sit there and go, I've never, you know, and playing double kick on 1 foot pedal.
Yeah, right.
So 2 feet, 1 foot pedal.
So were you...
And just to add, that the way you had that piccolo snare, man, that snap you got out of that snare drum, was one of the things that inspired me to play fucking drums when I was a kid.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was an old Remo drum, actually. Yeah, and it was a piece of shit.
It sounded, you made it.
tuned it
It
up.
sounded incredible though, and that was what stuck out for me when I first saw you
Wow.
play when I was a kid. And that's
It's not the drum, it's how you hit it.
And he used to have a real thing for Metallica and Justice for All. And I remember he used to tune his kit to what that,
And
you know,
now
that
you
real
can feel
that
it.
punchy,
smack, I guess.
yeah.
That smack. So if you want to hear something with no bass and a really shitty thin sound, go play earlier shit, you know.
So when you first saw Doco, were you doing covers or originals?
They were originals.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they were. Might have had a few covers chucked in, but
Yeah, cool.
I think that was might have been the same band, but we might have changed the name.
No, well, Frog was in
when's
it.
Yeah, okay.
It was Frog, so it might have been Thursday.
No, he was a Friday special, mate. No, I think that was Paranoia, man. That one was actually called Paranoia.
Yeah. Let's bring it back, you know.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds. That reminds me of some fucking things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah, none of them good.
I mean, just speaking of playing covers, my first introduction to you was Simo was you playing War Pigs with Swallow Tongue.
No, well, that would have actually been with Michelin.
That was Michelin, wasn't
That
it?
would have been Michelin Man.
Excuse me, I was 10.
No, but you got a good memory because the whole reason that we ended up getting a thing going at the Queen's Arms was because of a Swallow Tongue and a Michelin gig. And Chad McCamley and myself had been talking, and he'd worked at Kenny Randall's just up from, you know, so doing the spray painting thing. And one day came to, because Chad and I used to play in a band together called Tragic Sanity back in the day. And
he's a fantastic drummer too.
oh,
Let's-
he's one killer drummer.
Comes
One
a
killer.
powerhouse.
Wicked.
One of the hardest hitters I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know?
Still is.
Oh, man. He canes him. So,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, so we were talking about, you know, where we can play his gigs and stuff like that. And we'd played, you know, a couple of gigs of things like, you know, Greeter Workers Club and, you know, things that you would just sort of look like one-offs, Maitland City and, you know, and all that sort of thing. And we were looking for somewhere that was more regular. And anyway, he came to me this day and he said, we should go down, there's a pub just down from where I work called the Queen's Arms. I said, oh, yeah, right, So we went down on, I think it was a Friday afternoon because we had a couple of beers and we were sitting there talking to Ken and Jan and they were like, oh, you know, we don't have bands on, but, you know, we'd be prepared to, you know, give you young fellas a go sort of thing. So we owe a lot to them because it went from there, and if it wasn't from, no, actually, think about it, because you weren't even in the band. So it must have been a Swallow Tongue gig. The reason I say this is because Doco wasn't in the band until I'd watched him play after that night. So it was with Disowned. That's how it was.
Too many bands.
It was. and, you know, so okay. So I was playing in Disowned. And so Disowned and Swallow Tongue done this first show. And then all these things happened and blah, blah, blah. And then he ended up playing, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
And
Was it Aneurysm by Nirvana? Was that?
I jumped up with Sword
Fuck,
Tongue and
that
done
was
that one.
it. Yeah. I had that on video, man. I used to film everything back in the day when I
man.
was a little kid. I had the video camera running around.
Yeah, man. And I remember at the end of it, Errol, I'd done this big golly, and it landed on my leg. And anyway, and Errol called me Steven Simpson. He said, and that was Steven Simpson, and he even spits on himself. He's fucking got me too.
Now, you said Ken and Jan. Is that your grandparents?
That's my grandparents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
my dad's folks. They're still kicking in their own special
Awesome.
way.
Unreal.
They're about 1,000 years old, but they're doing all right.
Oh, that's unreal. You better say good day for me.
Oh, well, I told yesterday I was seeing you guys today. He was very excited, wanted me to say hello, and hope you're all
Awesome.
doing well.
Oh, that's
Hi,
great.
Ken and Jan.
Lovely to hear.
It blows my mind because, you know, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, not too much, but my knowledge of, I guess, pubs that book bands, they play these shitty mainstream radio covers all the time. It's weird for me to hear, because I've heard Jay tell stories and I've heard you guys tell stories. It's weird that a pub would be pushing original live heavy music. I think it's fucking incredible.
I guess they just kind of let us do our thing with their, you know. I think for a while there, Simo was organising the bands and that to go in there.
Yeah, for a long time. And what ended up happening was we got in with Apache Rain.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah,
No,
so-
massive nights, man. I mean, the place used to get packed.
Well,
It wasn't stragglers. It was a big event when there was a show on there. You know.
It really was. And it was somewhere, and I remember Jan saying this, is that it was somewhere the kids could go and do something.
Yeah.
So they had that side of it. They weren't honestly just about people that were like, you know, this might benefit us. They actually genuinely thought, you know, give us kids somewhere to go.
And if there's one thing I've heard from, I guess, you know, pubs over the years, it's the nicest crowds are the fucking metal crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
they bring their glasses back. They say please and thank you, and they fucking.
And it was such a mixed bag back then because you had like your crowd, which was the metal crowd. Then you had the Swallow Tongue crowd, which was like the grunge kind of Nirvana
that's right.
crowd.
grunge punk crowd.
Yeah,
even.
man, yeah, and
Yeah.
it was a really mixed bag, which brought a different element to the whole situation. That was a great feel.
You know,
Yeah.
I think playing there during '96 and all that, there was some fairly decent crowds and whatever. There were some really great nights. After Dogbite '97 sort of happened in Maitland, there was a few Maitland bands that got a little bit of exposure, Michelin
Yeah, that's
included.
right.
And I noticed
Yep.
that the next Queen's Arms, or the next gig we had was at the Queen's Arms, probably a week or two after that, after Dogbite,
Pumping.
and it doubled.
Yeah, right.
It absolutely doubled.
Yeah.
And from then on,
Yeah, that's right.
that was the signature crowd. It was like there was
Yeah.
so many. It was
For a
really good.
long time, it was, you know, not your stragglers, but you were playing to smaller crowds.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really did build into something. And, you know, and as being a part of organising a lot of them shows that with Apache Rain, it was unreal because I got to watch a gig
Yeah.
and it was such a, you know, there was such an aura about playing the Queen's Arms. It became a real venue.
Nan loved the music, you know. I mean, she was 600 years old then, but she loved all the guys that come in. She loved all the music that they played. It wasn't, you know, anything that she'd heard before, but it was something that even her, you know, that she liked. And I mean, Dar was a bit different, you know. He was a bit more starchy.
Tell
But,
those cunts to keep it down.
yeah, pretty much. Those darn
I
buggers.
can't hear what he's saying. He's screaming too much.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, it's one of those things that, just going back to something Lenny said a little while ago about the nicer crowds.
Yeah.
And I think the nicer crowds actually happen with the nicer venue.
Yeah.
So the people that are running the venue get more respect from the people
Yeah.
that are playing if they're nice people.
Exactly,
If you got past staff who are cunts, you're probably going to be a cunt to them.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
And,
but
you
it
know,
shows. You know, look at the junkyard. You know, those guys are the nicest.
Just
you know,
about to
and-
mention that. And
Yeah,
say,
a
hey,
classic
that's-
example.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is the example.
Yeah, I mean
That's right.
that's like between the Junkyard and the Stag and Hunter and the Station Hotel, they're really the only pubs I know that are still pushing original music, and that's why it weirds me out to fucking hear these stories of like the Queen's Arms, which I see as a little
Yeah.
bistro pub nowadays, just fucking rocking heavy metal gigs on a Friday night.
That was the thing. It was the bistro through the day, and then
That's right. They
Maybe
move the
they-
tables
Yeah.
and
Yep.
That
man,
metal. The mirror wall behind
Man,
it. It looked great, man. The carpet everywhere.
Honestly,
The mirror wall.
Mate,
Do you want
it's
to talk about the mirror wall?
well, that's we will mention the mirror wall.
How many fucking narcotics did you have when you were deployed to
Well, it wasn't
Myanmar?
so much that. It was like Simo's cock had come out every fucking gig. You know?
But the crowd is see it when I was facing Doc. Oh yeah, good
Vitamin
memory.
Coke.
That's why Nen kept booking you. Now I get it.
I did it once, and
And that's why Pop was upset.
he never liked me
This
after
prick,
that.
this prick and his big dick showing.
Yeah, no, that and going back to footy shorts, that's where
Doco, you mentioned Dogbite '97. That was I was there, man. I was fucking 12 or 13 years old. It was a massive thing for me to see you guys on a big stage like that in a big open field. And how was it playing a big open air festival that Maitland hadn't really had before?
It was incredible, mate. I actually think '98 was the biggest year. Was the best one that we played. You know,
second year.
You played
Yeah,
you played 2 years.
Well, actually,
right?
we played the 3 years that Dogbite ran. Mishling and Frenzell Rom were the only three bands to play there for every 3 years.
I didn't know Frenzell did the second.
Frenzell.
Did Frenzell really do the second?
Oh, okay.
I thought
well,
they
maybe
did first and third.
Well, okay. Well, don't
Screaming Jets did
don't
one,
take it
didn't
as gospel.
No,
Okay,
the
well,
Screaming Jets were
Mishling-
booked in to play Dogbite 2000, and that got called off right as I got into
Yeah.
fucking Maitland because of the rain. They changed the venue. They moved it to the footy field.
Right.
They did. They moved it from the race course to the footy field, and it
Yep.
got pissed down rain all Easter weekend, and they called it off that morning. I was fucking upset because that was my very first opportunity to see the Screaming Jets.
I'd say Jets
They
had on
fucked that up,
yeah.
mate. I've got to say one thing.
Gleeso, your mate.
Is that, well, 97, 98, 99, there were other people involved in that got stood on pretty much and squashed. And I remember watching the scene. I think in organisational,
Right. Okay.
you know. So you had your council, there was like parties from everywhere all involved in it. And, you know, there was concerns about not trouble as such, but people jumping the fence and all that sort of shit that happened in the last one.
Yeah.
And that created a few reasons that, you know, they've got to do something different for the next one. And then these particular members got pushed out because they were deemed the scapegoat for why it was like that, and they'd had the control of that side of things.
Right. So they copped all the blame.
So they copped all the shit and they got squashed out. And then the next one that was organised, they had real troubles getting decent bands. There were some decent bands on the bill,
Yeah.
but they didn't have the contacts anymore.
Right. Okay. So the ones
So-
who copped the shit were the ones who actually pulled the shots.
That's right.
Normally, always the way.
who had the
unfortunately.
majority of the actual good acts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's the truth behind it. So,
And when he means big acts, I'm probably fresh big acts at that time.
Yeah.
You know.
well, and I'm
there was still some
certainly
good, there was still some good
Oh,
names
fuck.
there, but
Yeah. A whole different scene, but you
And
know
as,
what I
so
mean.
as a bunch of young blokes at the time, how is it to be a part of a festival? You're backstage, you see names that you've seen on TV, hear on radio. How is it interacting with those kind of guys as a bunch of young blokes at a gig?
Awesome.
It was awesome. It was a bit of an eye opener, mate.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, yeah.
We had like what was it, Mark Kane, Frenzell Rom, Grinspoon. It was a decent
Yeah.
bill, you know. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
did it probably not long before, whatever it was. Was it 97 Grinspoon played? Or
97.
97,
Grinspoon,
yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was
and that
probably-
was Mark Kane Grinspoon, yeah.
Not long before that, Mishling actually done a support act for them down at the pit.
The Pit,
Down the
yeah.
pit.
no way.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and
Who was
they
on
blew
that
me away
before?
there, and I'm like, wow, these guys,
That's
I hear them on
what-
the
yeah.
radio, and it's like, wow, these guys are really something going somewhere, and it was really great.
Well,
And
fuck,
they were-
I can't believe
they were
I
cool, man.
opened for those guys as well. Like fucking in 2002, I won a band competition, and my shitty little covers band got to open for Grinspoon. at
Unreal.
uni.
Sweet.
That was my
Unreal.
fucking claim to fame for.
what was
It got me late in high school. I was stoked. So
You get laid in
Grinspoon
high
doing
school?
it since 97.
twice.
Got you laid and then Dad left. It was a tough time for you.
So look, it's been 21 years since the EP was released. What are your memories from recording that? And because back in the day, it wasn't as easy to record something as it is now. You can't just fucking plug in and play.
It was a long process, yeah.
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 Well, two of them songs were
Two
by
of the
Headman.
songs were done by Hezzy, yes.
Yep, Tony Eds.
So we'd had, but
Sorry, on drums.
No, No, Tony
recording.
Heads. Oh, sorry,
Did
Tony
he
Heads.
track the
was,
whole lot?
Yeah, tracked it.
Oh, okay.
It was Michelin.
Okay, so yeah,
No, I
so,
thought you meant
I
someone
didn't
else.
get sacked for it.
no,
I
Sharp,
thought
Lenny.
you might have came in late.
so it was
Fuck
done
you
in
pricks,
two
I'm young. I
parts.
don't know this stuff.
It was done in two parts, and we'd won a band comp, and I think that's how we got the Headsy recording.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Where'd you do it?
something. Well, Headsy had a room down in
He still owes us some time,
King
actually,
Street. I think he does actually.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Sid, get him on, Sid,
At
get him on
least
the
time
phone.
of day, one of the two, you know.
Get him on the phone, Sid. We need to talk to him about some hours.
Yeah, triple O.
He should be recording
Emergency,
this.
motherfucker.
about 48
we never got
hours,
those
I think.
hours. Yeah.
No, I remember getting an advanced copy of that because you boys were so lovely to me and my grandparents when I was a young bloke, and I still pump it today. I found an extra copy. I only ever had the one, but for some reason I got two sitting in my house, and I'm fucked up and know where I got the second one from.
Remember,
it's got a Sound World sticker on it.
Yeah.
So unless I bought a copy when I was on Sound, I don't fucking remember.
No,
but-
that would have been probably thrown away by our management. Just keep leaving them at gigs. Fuck it.
It was in
Well,
there.
no, yeah, thanks, man.
There's a
You
hole
got it
in
from the
it.
$1 bin.
There's a hole in the road. Put some Michelin CDs in it.
Yeah. No, if you look to the end, that's where we had the JPEG files. So, they were the Mark I version. Right?
Well, the three other songs were recorded actually at the old brewery.
That's right.
We in Maitland, the Maitland Brewery.
That's where they were
upstairs.
tracked, like the drums.
The drums were, yeah.
I used to tell all my friends that, man. I said, man, I know this band, man, and they fucking recorded their drums in a girl's toilet, man. It's
it.
fucking brilliant.
Hell yeah, we
did. And tampons still left in the corner. I checked.
We actually put a mic in that bin, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did. Then we put a mic sitting in
That's
the
right.
Dunny Bowl.
Yep.
Just for trying different shit. It was
What
actually-
drums
it was actually
were recorded there? For what tracks?
that was Fruit of Life.
Fruit of
Opus.
Life. No, Opus was.
No, well, you're right. So
Yeah.
Fruit of Life, My Memory,
And it's
you. And the funny thing was, how we did that was how someone, I think it was Simo, had a fucking brainiac idea to record the drums without the cymbals and then put the cymbals in later and things like that.
That's why.
Dead set.
Christ, that was hard.
Yeah, because we found that he played better if he just played less instruments at once.
So it was sort of weird. So standing there, you got your hand playing your cymbals, but it's not playing anything, and the other hand's doing the rest with your feet. And there was one stage, I think it was when we're doing It's You, and the double kickers kick in, and my stool's just sliding further and further away from the drums. I'm trying to do it. And next I'm like, I'm not that tall, so I'm like stretched right out, you know. And, yeah.
That must have been a head fuck doing it separately.
Took about 20 takes, that one.
That's insane. I had no idea that was a thing, that you recorded the cymbals separately for
Yeah,
for
man.
your
Yeah,
track.
did a thing. Yeah.
Fuck. And the whole
Shit
thing.
idea.
Well, the whole thing.
Dude, it turned out fucking great. Like I
turned
said, I
out
still
great.
pump it 21 years
Yeah.
later. It sounds amazing.
And it does, and it sounds different to any other band that recorded around that time, or that, like local bands where you would, swap CDs and whatever, and you hear this, and you're like, oh, fucking, how's it sound? How's it sound so much better?
Yeah.
And,
Not being biased, it was
Not being biased.
just what I got from it, you know?
It was all about the spill, because if you went for the hats, it would wash out the snare and the toms.
Well, I've only heard of one other band doing it, this hardcore band called 18 Visions. They released an album that was really quite produced, and they used all these fucking expensive microphones, and they did the same thing, because microphones picked up cymbals one way, but fucked up the drums and
That's
vice
right.
versa.
Yeah,
So I'm watching this doco going, how the fuck is this dude just playing nothing? As a albeit shit drummer, I'm like, how the fuck can you just play toms or just play cymbals?
That's
It's
it.
so
eh?
difficult, yeah.
But it
Well, hats
sounds
off to you,
great.
Doco, mate.
Sounds-
That sounds like a fucking challenge. I mean,
High
Lenny and I
hats off
both
to you.
tried to
Yeah,
play
but-
drums for a lot of years, and we failed, but
Yeah.
we know that that's something that would be fucking challenging.
Oh, mate, I was young, I was keen. What do
He
you
was
say? I
keen.
just did it.
You know, he played better doing it.
Yeah.
He played better doing it, and I know as abstract as it must have felt, he created a different feel. But then he had that in his head, so that would come out naturally when he played it anyway. After that, so by tracking them, I think he definitely became a more, I don't know, like a picturized, visualized drummer. You actually set the mood, and not just be
Yeah, not just
playing
be
the song,
part at the back of the song.
not just a good take, just something different again. You know.
No,
Well, like I said, man.
I don't think I ever realised that, man. But no, cool, but yeah.
He's telling you that you did.
I was just trying to be, Tommy Lee, I think.
And it works, man. It works.
So what kind of shit were you guys listening to? Because obviously, you know, there's no secret that there's a lot of Faith No More influence on some of this stuff.
Just about to
Mate,
say
look,
that.
mate, look, there's
Especially
there's-
what the opening track, Fruit of Life.
Real life.
I mean, that's very
Yeah.
your vocals, especially super Faith No More. Love it.
Oh man, and it's,
I mean, it doesn't sound like you're trying to be like Mike Patton or anything, but you sound
He
fucking.
was such a major influence into change, going for something,
Yeah.
not just sticking to. Like before then, I was more orientated of rock, you know, and Black Sabbath hit the scene, Zeppelin hit the scene, yeah, and they were great. But when Faith No More hit the scene, it took what Zeppelin and that were doing for me to, I'm allowed to go here now, you know.
I'm happy to do 4 hours of Faith No More this afternoon.
Yeah, me too.
Because the thing for me is they were one of the first bands that, because I discovered them in high school after they were well and truly broken up. But for me, they were one of the few bands that could have one song where Mike sung
Yeah.
and then he screamed
Yeah,
in the
that's
one
right.
song. And it's not this dude doing this screaming and this dude doing the cleans. It's just one dude doing everything. And you can hear that in what you do as well, which is great.
And that's what we sort of worked on was when Michelin got together, the whole deal about the whole, you know, Michelin was, you know, German, that whole story was more focused on two things that shouldn't be together,
Yeah.
are going together.
I was actually going to ask about that because I looked into to the name and it's like mongrel in
Yeah.
in
It's
German.
actually German for mongrel.
Yeah,
That's right,
yeah. And I was thinking, I mean,
Couldn't do it
it
nowadays.
sounds fucking great. And I was how did you? Because I wouldn't know that fucking word. You know?
well-
Unless you weren't around, I wouldn't have heard that fucking word in my life. You know.
I
how
don't
did you
think
hear
I
it?
would have heard it if it wasn't for Smithy. You know?
Yeah, you read a book on World War II or
That's
something.
right, yeah. And it all became about the
mean-
discovery of what.
I mean, even some of the artwork was pretty influenced, let's be honest. you probably couldn't use some of that.
You know
now.
what? You know what? It was funny because it sort of we're trying to bring those two meanings together to show
Yeah,
what you know. That's like two different things coming
Yeah.
together, and we had no idea whatsoever that it was actually quite taboo, which is funny because you look at it now, you go, well, how can you not know? But
Did you ever cop any shit
I don't-
for it back in the day with the name and the logos?
Because it wasn't,
and things like that?
it was not what
A
we
little
were
bit.
about. you know?
I reckon it was more so the crunch point that got it for me was my grandmother.
Okay.
When she
COVID.
she saw the artwork of the, you know, the
Because it's
Jewish
am I
star
right?
and
It's
the-
the eagle. Is it the eagle?
Yeah,
there's the eagle for the poster, but on our backdrop we used to have the Jewish star and the swastika in it, and it was,
that's right. Yeah, fuck.
you know,
I was doing that today.
Yeah.
I just kept wondering why there was only skinheads would turn up.
Fucking hell, Angry Anderson's at every gig.
Yeah. So we got these two dudes to our, you know, show one night, and it all started from there. You know, they were telling us how cool we really were by being, you know, fascist and
Fuck.
no, there was never any of that. Just going back to my grandmother, she actually said to me something that I've never forgotten, and the whole thing is that you don't know, you weren't in that time.
Yeah.
It's so insulting to a lot of people, and we were like, fuck it, you know, like
Yeah,
at the time, fuck, who gives a shit? And I guess that moment made me sort of question it.
Yeah. I mean, that comes with age, though, because I know for a fact I've fucking said terrible things,
Oh,
thinking it's a joke.
Yeah, totally.
And now you get older and you go, fucking hell, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Well, Doc was doing that on the way down.
Do it all
What was
day.
it again?
Lenny and Jay, they're mongrels, aren't they?
A little midget Nazi skinhead, but yeah.
See, so the whole meaning of the name Michelin was basically, you know, the way we see people and the way the world has moved, we're all mongrels, we're all different breeds of everything.
Yeah.
If you go back and chase your ancestral history and heritage from way back, fucking, you know, as far as it goes, you've got all bits and pieces everywhere.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So no one, we're just presuming that everyone in the band wasn't really a pure breed.
Yeah.
We're all a bit of a mongrel. So that's basically how the name came about. There was nothing to do with, you know, extremism of the white guy and all that sort of
definitely
bullshit.
not. No,
Man, we had
definitely
no idea that shit was sort of even going to be mentioned in what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's songs there, there's nothing about it. We're not for that shit.
Well, that's good. It'd be very awkward if you were.
Reassures himself every day.
Yeah, look, there was what was 5 and a hidden track on either one of those.
Yep.
Now
2 hidden tracks, one hidden one and one weird little reverse the music for a second. And
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
we need to waste some time on this album, you know.
Now look, 21 years later, you guys are still spoiling me, and you've sent me a couple of tracks that haven't been released. I don't think, unless I'm missing something. No, I didn't think so. So look, you've sent me one here that we're going to play shortly called "Ring of Fire."
Yeah.
When did that happen? And tell us a bit about it.
Big night of Mexican food, wasn't
Shit, that was probably. I'm going to take a rough guess and say probably late '98.
Yeah,
Maybe we would have done that.
Maybe, it
think
was one of
Corby-
our first recordings.
I think Corby actually played that with an old Samick bass, or he might have borrowed. He might have borrowed someone's. It might have been Todd's.
Yeah,
Todd Johnson,
Definitely would
maybe.
have been
Yeah, mate.
Teage's.
Oh, would have had
Everyone
my-
goes to Teach for everything.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Man,
Maitland's resident fucking everything.
he taught us to play. You know, like
Oh, live with him,
he
man.
would sit there and hey,
Fucking
Teach
great
would sit and
education.
honestly, would work out songs for us. Like,
Yeah.
we wanted to play covers. We'd be sitting there learning and just go, man, and you go, that's it, you fucking
Teach
idiot.
is one of those pricks that's like, if he knew how good he was,
Yeah.
he'd be the biggest cunt in the world, but he's such a fucking sweetheart. If I had half his talent, I'd be an asshole.
Oh, mate.
I got
You are an
none of it, and I am an
arsehole,
asshole. We
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So it was probably late '98. It was recorded. We recorded this with a bloke called Fozzie
Yeah, man.
down at Patchy
Yeah.
Rain.
Rain,
in the
Rain,
studio,
yeah,
right?
Rain Studios.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And then it was pretty good fun. It's really raw. I don't even know if it got mastered or anything really.
This
It's
is the
probably
acoustic intro one, right?
It is. Yeah. Well, they
yeah,
both are, but this one especially. Now, was this considered for the EP back in the day, or did you guys set out? You had the 5 songs ready to go, and that was it.
I think everything was up for grabs. That's probably
Yeah.
half the reason why we even called the album.
Either one.
Oh,
of
the
them.
one of
people,
those,
what we
yeah.
did was it was going to be either one of those, and
I think it sort of came down to.
It's a brilliant
we
name, by
couldn't
the way. I
record
fucking
them all.
love the name.
well,
Always
actually we
have.
didn't really come up with it in the end, but we actually were thinking it. It's a weird story.
Yeah.
Let's tell that story
still
after.
All right, well, tell me that story when we come back. We'll go into
Fire.
Ring of
Ring of
Fire.
Fire.
All right, rock and roll. Fucking woo, let's fucking do it. I hope. I did it.
difference from sane to mad. Correlation of my senses, decipher from good and bad. And now my friends awaken, my conscience, my only friend.
Johnny Cash cover, Ring of Fire.
Good old Johnny Cash.
Sounds nothing like the original.
That was Mischling with Ring of Fire. A little sneak peek there, a little bonus we got from the boys, Simo and Doc, who's joined us here in Night Train Studios on Planet Neptune or something. Here we are.
Lovely
We're
place to
back.
Where we're all socially distanced and well lubricated.
And still
of-
feeling the pain.
Speaking of lubricated, Sid, I think Simo needs a beer, mate.
Yes,
Thank you,
Freight
Sid.
lubrication.
Sid, the cameraman, has taken the role of Sid, the beer bitch today. Good man. Good man. He's doing a good job too.
Thanks, Sid. I don't usually have them unopened.
Get your shit together, mate, for fuck's sake.
What's he going to check off, Sid?
There were so many times I was just hoping to just go bang, put a straw in there.
So that was obviously, I believe, an unreleased track. How far spread were those tunes back in the day? Do people still hear those songs in today, or are they pretty exclusive to us?
Mate, we haven't released it to anyone really. It's just only for our own shits
You
and
heard
giggles.
it here
Yeah.
first.
And
I
that
think
was
it's-
played live. I take it.
Yeah,
That
it was
was
a
yeah.
live. It was a live opener a lot of times. Yeah.
When you
one
did
of
an
the
opener
faves.
with that, was that intro on a tape, or did you guys play the...
No, Smitty played the intro.
Yeah, and he used to play it. When we recorded it, it was actually we borrowed a 12-string,
Right.
and
It was done on a nylon.
No, I think it was electric. Oh, sorry,
12
steel,
string, 12 string
12 string
nylon.
steel. But he borrowed off my uncle. My uncle's passed away now, old Uncle Bobby Simmons. So it's even more special, I guess, because Smithy borrowed that guitar, and where is that guitar now? Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, he borrowed that and played it in the stairwell, and we were finding that playing it in this stair area, massive reverb, it was a two-story stair area, and our recorder at the time, I think it was Matt Howard, he did that one. Or was
No,
it
that was
Fozzy?
Fozzy, man. That was
Was
Fozzy.
You
Fozzy?
said Fozzy before.
It was
Yeah.
Fozzy. So yeah,
You remember that one, don't you?
Yeah, well, Fozzy set this mic up. Yeah, yeah, good memory. And and basically it tracked it, and that was pretty much unaffected, so there was no chorus effect or anything needed.
Just the room.
You know, it was just the room.
Wasn't it Zeppelin or the Stone? No, the Zeppelin recorded
Yeah.
drums in big fucking massive.
Yeah, that was when the levee breaks.
Levy breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds massive.
Massive down the hallway with the mic.
All,
for the
you know,
kick.
all this kind of technology, and all you need is a big fucking room.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
And knowing what you want to sound like, I think, is trying to get the sound. You know, that's pre-production. If you actually want to record something and go, this is how we want it to sound, that's when you've got a master album on your way, you know?
Sure.
How long, back to the EP, I guess, how many days, or was that did you do that in a succession of days, or did you do a bit here, a bit week later, a bit week later?
Oh, we got in done all the drums in one day. There was 3 tracks down. It took all day. It took quite a while. But
Yeah.
well,
Took all day and half
made the
the
room.
night,
We,
man.
we actually made the room
That's
through the
right.
day as well. We probably got in just
That's-
before midday.
Yeah, it was all
And,
about setting it up through the day. And
sealed up the room and even sealed up a little makeshift room for everyone on the controls. And
Sorry, is this the brewery?
that's the brewery.
this is the brewery, yeah, upstairs at the old brewery,
Outback Jacks now, isn't it?
something like that.
They won't let you
Yeah.
record drums now, unless you
No.
buy a steak.
Yeah, well, that's right. You know, higher stakes.
I won't eat their chicken wings then.
Yeah, fuck them, I wouldn't eat them either.
Fucking, who cares about curly fucking fries?
Just back, we spoke earlier about the Maitland music scene and how big it became in the mid '90s. There's never really been a lull in that period. It still seems to be just as important to people, just as popular to people. It's a different type of music now, obviously, but I've noticed that a lot of the players are still the same players from 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Chad and Corby who were in
Zombonomo.
Zombonomo. Shout out to Zombonomo, fucking terrific band.
Oh,
You
smash
finally,
it,
you
mate.
finally learned to say how to say it. properly.
Fuck. Boys, when Lenny and I had a radio show on Port Stevens FM, I'll just tell you something real quick. Chad sent me the disc,
What's it called?
Zombonomo's.
Zombonomo.
Zombonomo, yeah. Now, I would never intro the band. I used to get Lenny to do it because I couldn't say Zombonomo. And this cunt wouldn't
And
tell
I'm a
me how it's
cunt, and I
pronounced.
have no issue with dead air. So I go, so this next song is Wash It Away. Who is this, Joe? And it'd be like,
Zombonomino, fucking, I could never get it out right.
there'd be 10 seconds of silence, which doesn't sound like much, but when it's on live radio, it's fucking alive.
This was live radio.
And
and
he's
I
looking at
fucking-
me going, just say the band name, and I'm just like smiling at him, going, no, fuck you.
I think there was a Gumball festival they played at years
Yeah, they
ago.
opened one.
They opened, yeah,
Yeah.
and the bloke who
Fucking Dexy Dashville, whoever that bloke
oh,
was.
I don't know, man, but he
That was the host that year, and he fucking drove me nuts.
he could not. I don't know what he called him, Zombonomonomono or something. You know?
Well, that was his prick on
That's
the
pretty
radio
much
every
me,
week.
man. I couldn't fucking say it. Sound like an idiot. No wonder we got sacked, Lenny.
And I let the dead air hang. How good's that rain? How
Yeah,
That's rain, is it? There we go. Oh, the apocalypse has hit.
that's right.
Might not be doing a pour on Monday, Corbett.
None of us know what the fuck.
He'll know what he was. Fucking concreters, mate.
You'll always be a poor boy.
Now, 25 years into the business, you guys have fucking probably seen and done some pretty awesome shit over the years. What have been some of the really standout experiences that you've had with either Michelin or just as being a playing musician?
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, mate.
We were talking about something
I mentioned-
today, and I said, man, you're telling that story because you tell it better than me.
You know, there was probably really early in the Michelin days. I don't think I'd even turned 18 yet, but we had a gig at somewhere in Cessnock, and there's a few bands on. I think
PCYC,
Face
from
Plant.
memory? PCYC?
Well, we did a couple out at Cessnock. I'm not sure if that one was at one at PCYC though. There was this one we did. Face Plant was the headliner for the night.
Yeah.
You know, I think someone came on before us, played.
Probably Creed. They were in with the faceplant boys.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Not the Creed that we all know and love.
No, the good Creed. The good Creed.
And then the Michelin played, and then we were like, yeah, we got off stage, got all their gear into the car, and I always used to go to the gigs with like a bottle of freaking cola or something, or Coke or something, you know, and I was out having, we finished, and I'm having a swig of this drink,
Refreshments?
and then we're like, oh, we'll go and have a smoke in the bushes, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right,
I
so,
was smoking the bushes.
so I just put the bottle down in front of the car. we've gone into the bushes and had a smoke. Anyway, it was smoking away, and these kids come up and they're like, "Oh, look, I think that's the band's grog." They're like, "Oh, I don't know about it. Oh, well, let's go get so-and-so." And, you know, so they took off. Simo and I had a bit of a giggle, so we went and grabbed the bottle. And Simo
Pissed in it.
pretty well emptied his bladder in it,
Yeah.
gave it a bit of a mix-up, you know, a bit of a, not a full-on shake, just a bit of a mix-up. Put the bottle back in the spot, sat back in the bushes, smoking away. and these kids come
Just
back, and these other
waiting.
kids,
Just
"See,
waiting."
See, there it is, there's that band's grog. And these kids like push him out of the road. I know, it's fucking mine, you know. And he goes in there, he opens it up, and he just starts necking it. He just starts sculling the shit out of it. You can see him gulping it down. He's going for it. Then he sort of, you know, pulled away and it sort of spilled everywhere, and he sort of dropped it, and they've all ran. We're in the bushes just pissing ourselves laughing, man. It was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen at that time of my life.
There was one bit that he missed.
Oh, no, there was when I think it was Abusement Park were playing, they finished.
Fuck,
and-
that's a good name.
Fuck, they were a good band,
they were-
man.
They were a great
Awesome,
band.
Yeah.
mate.
I had their EP as well.
Oh, have you got it?
They were
It's
a
probably
worthy
floating
band.
around at home somewhere. dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Dave.
I got the
Dave
Swallow
Butler.
Tongue tape at my house, man. The fucking the
Eat the cake.
Eat the cake.
Yes, yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Fuck
Great,
yeah, man.
great,
Yeah.
great songs on that. I think it was like a 3-song
Yeah, they
Something
done
like that from
they done a
memory?
helmet cover of Unsung.
unsung.
They
Yeah.
fucking Give It Away. That was my favourite Swallow Tongue song. Give it away.
Yeah, yeah.
And fucking fuck, I can't remember the last one.
I remember the song. Dun, 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 dun. I can't think of the name of it.
Oh, fuck.
Shadow'll be cranky.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was one of my faves. Anyway.
Track
But-
2.
Yeah, so anyway, we've come back. Now, and the doors open up and the amusement park are loading all their gear out. We're sort of giving them a hand. And those kids all rocked up, just trying to get autographs off amusement park or something. Little pricks didn't ask us. But anyway, so Simo and I just sort of standing there laughing, and they were sort of, "Well, what are you laughing at?" You know, and we're like, "Oh, you know that drink you drank?" And they're like, "Oh, we didn't drink anything." Going, "Yeah, you did. We saw you. It was piss." Just to watch his face turn green and
There's
you know,
a-
oh man,
there's another
he's learned a lesson. I mean, I'm big on education.
He fucking hasn't done it again, I guess.
That's right.
That's right.
And
You
there's,
don't-
there's another example of times changing. Imagine Simo today going, "Oh yeah, I just pissed in a 15-year-old boy's mouth."
I was straight up for a COVID check.
It was a COVID cleanse.
I'll give you the swabs, mate. You're right.
You do it
Got
now,
some
you're
from
locked
last
up. You
week.
do it, then it's just a joke.
That's right.
It's a joke 25. You can still get cancelled though now, mate.
No, it doesn't count, man. We're on the bushes.
Yeah, the least sus place to be when someone's drinking piss in the bushes.
Yeah.
So, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say. So since I remember back, Michelin sort of went on a hiatus for quite a while back in sort of 2000.
Yeah, early
from memory.
2000 area.
Yep.
And I remember Simo, you went and done a thing with Henry Zenga. Is that
Yeah.
from memory? Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up joining Henry Zanga. Oh, I think it was early, or wasn't early actually. It would have been late '99, and
So they were based in
think-
Canberra at the
they
time.
were a
I think.
Canberra band. Yeah.
Did you relocate back then, or did you?
At the
how did it
time,
work?
I hadn't. It wasn't until early 2000s I found somewhere to go and live down there. Yeah, but it was a good experience. Really, yeah, it opened my eyes.
Yeah.
And got me to, be able to play different scenes, different crowds.
Well, they were more of a
different venues.
hardcore kind of band as opposed to the metal scene, right?
They were. I guess it was some weird, abstract sort of rock, progressive metal sort of thing going on back in them days, and that's sort of what it became. Not unlike things like, I guess, Butterfly Effect, and I think that's where we went vocally at least. It was along them lines, but you hear bands now like Cog and stuff like that, and they seem to be following a similar feel.
How's the jump to all due respect, I guess, a bigger band? Does it feel more like a business when it's at that level? Like, does it feel more like a job?
Yeah, not a job,
No.
but I think there's more of a awareness
Yeah.
of, you can't fuck this one up.
Yeah.
You got to sort of make sure you're trying your best, and there's going to be questions if you don't
Yeah.
do any good. I guess there's the difference between being at the level I was there as opposed to where we were with Michelin or the level above that.
Yeah.
I think when you're the level above that, people don't ask questions.
Yeah.
You don't get the opportunity to. When you're at the level we were with Michelin, you have a lot more people telling you how to do it, but no one wants to help you.
Yeah.
And then the next level is like, they're helping you, but you got to pay them,
Yeah.
you know. And
Was there many fucking yes men around Henry Zenger?
there was a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few, but I don't think there was anyone really with. Well, I think they were all good people,
Yeah.
and still at that level, they were the people that actually liked the music. It was the people above them that had to cover the bills.
Yeah.
Or wanted the expectation of something in return. I think that's, they used to say about Sony, if you went with Sony, you sold your soul to the devil.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. I think there's people that care about people in a music scene. They still want to be paid, but they like the music, as opposed to, here's a music business, and we don't give a fuck if you make it or not, you're paying us the bill.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot more of that awareness, I think.
And Doco, when Michelin, went on the hiatus, I remember Core and things like that. What was there anything between Michelin and Core that you?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Straight after Michelin, I went into a covers band actually.
Yeah.
Just Expose, I think that was called. We did the bowling club scene and all that. It was a lot different, a hell of a lot different to what I did.
Tony Rees.
And that's where I met Tony
That's
Rees
where
as well.
Tony Rees came from Zombonomo.
That's right. And
Fucking beast, by the way.
oh man, he's
He's an animal.
the
mate.
best.
Machine.
He's so good to watch on stage.
We played
man.
anything from like it's just bowling club sort of stuff, So we're playing anything from Enter Sandman to Racy, Some girls do, some girls don't, all that shit. And like, but Reese used to just fucking play it like Tony, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He'd give it some legs, and I was all for that,
Yeah.
He knew that. So we'd balls up anything that was played. Like Kylie Minogue had balls when we played it. It was great, And it was good fun. It was a good fun band. It was just a typical little cover band. But
I mean, I know a lot of people tend to shit on covers bands at times, but if you can make money fucking laying bricks or playing drums, I'd rather be fucking playing drums.
Fuck
for a
yeah.
while.
I'm hearing you, man.
and
man.
I did that for years, just doing that in cover bands too, and
You
fairly
still
decent money.
you still do cover stuff? I know no one's fucking playing anything. At the
Not at the
moment.
moment. I've sort of gone back to Core for a bit of work, and we've got something lined up. We wanted, trying to get another band together for something special.
Core's been going for a while,
For a long
15
time,
years.
yeah.
or-
And you know what? To be honest, mate, I wouldn't care if we changed the name.
Yeah.
But apparently, you don't do that, so I don't know.
I remember booking you guys back in the Spellbound when I went to Spellbound Music back
Yep.
in fucking 2005 or something.
That's right,
6 or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah, man, a long time ago now.
Yes,
and
well,
that's
I
how
didn't-
actually I found out about Michelin again. I was booking shows at the Marcus O'Lawn in Lambton, and a girl came along.
Yeah, man.
Can't remember her name for the life of me, but her sister used to work at the Queen's Arms many years ago. I can't remember her name either, but she told me, she goes, look, I heard Michelin's back together, get in touch. So I did, and you guys were fucking gracious enough to come down and play a show for me.
And that
the first
was
time
with Tony Rees.
Did you guys play?
was it really?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play because I know Jay and I did a couple of Metal Bloody Metals not too long ago, but you used to run them at the Marcus O'Lawn, and that's where I met you actually, the House of Steel.
That's right, yeah.
Did you guys play the Metal Bloody Metal shows back then?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
That was.
remember
Yeah,
You guys
that-
played
that
two
was the
for
one-
us, I think.
I think I got paid in a shirt.
Right. You probably still
Yeah.
made more than the promoter.
No, well, I got
You guys played, I think,
400,
one
so-
at the...
D, fuck him.
from
Don't
memory...
mention his name.
Nah, fuck him. He can fuck off.
Yeah.
I remember. I'm not sure if the gig at the Marcus O'Lawn was a Metal Bloody Metal, but I know you guys played our first Metal Bloody Metal outside of Newcastle, which was in the Central Coast.
That's right. Yeah.
With we tried the whole punk
Yeah.
/ metal thing, which
That's right.
It was all right.
Yeah, that was
was
fun,
good,
mate.
man.
You
That
guys
was a great
fucking
night.
crushed it, of course.
That was a great night. We got caught in a bloody lift. Do you remember that?
Oh, I don't remember
We're
shit.
trying to. Oh man.
That's fucking the
Before
beachcomber.
it started- Yeah, the beachcomber.
Beachcomber,
you
yeah.
did
Before I went to go on the stage, we're coming right on the stage, and there used to be the lift right
Yeah,
near
yeah.
that. Yeah,
That's
the
right.
stage
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Well, the lift door wouldn't open. And I'm stuck in the lift when we're meant to be going on. I was like, the rest of the band sitting there waiting for me to come on the stage, and I was like, Can't get this fucking
Look,
guy.
he's doing an
Fucking
axle.
this egotistical prick's taking his time. Fucking hell, Simo, we're on, mate.
It was the 3 chicks I had in there, you know. I kept hitting emergency stop.
Funny you mentioned the Marcus O'Lawn. As a heavy metal band, how important are venues like the Marcus O'Lawn and the Junkyard and I guess the Queen's Arms? How important are those venues to keep the scene alive?
It's a hard one for anywhere to keep the scene alive at the moment, isn't it? It's
They need the support. You know, they need the support from punters overall. Like, it's funny how many times I've heard people, friends, whatever, say, "Oh, man, you know, it'd be great to see, you know, Michelin or a metal band or something happening here." You know, so the venue puts it on, and then they're not there, and you're like, "Hang on, man,
That's right.
You're screaming out for something, and you're whinging that there's not one around. But when one turns up, you don't come and support it. That's why it's not there."
That's right.
And that's what
You
gives
know?
me the shits. People a bit older than us go, "Oh, there's no fucking good bands anymore. Where's the Midnight Oils? Where's the Screaming Jets?" Well, they were playing to no one originally too.
That's right.
If you don't go and see a band, they don't become Midnight Oil. They
That's
don't
right.
become Screaming Jets.
That's exactly right. And, you know, people enjoy the music, but have this reluctance sometimes to make the effort to get their clothes on, to go to the venue. And, like,
Beer
who gives a fuck if
prices
it's
don't help.
$10?
Yeah.
Or the beers are fucking $7.50 for a Melbourne bitter.
Yeah.
When they didn't have VB. You know, it's like...
Where's this?
Oh, well, you know, I'm hoping they got rid of the Melbourne bitter. I hit them up the other day.
I was there yesterday. It's cool.
It's go. Thank fuck. Right, I'm back. So you know,
Melbourne is a bit bitter at the moment, isn't it?
fucking oath. Yeah.
Sorry.
Get that on your scraping.
So again, just back on to you know, your music. You guys have sent us another track, "People Out There," which was attracted again, unreleased, that we were
Yep.
blessed with today. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that before we have a listen.
Well, see, the version that was on the EP, either one of those, is a hidden track. I mean, that was a live version
Yeah.
of it. This is the recorded version, so it is quite different. I like this version better out of any of them.
It sounds a lot heavier than.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it had Satan came in at the end and everything, and then put in a performance, which was fantastic. But I think I actually wrote the words to this song, and I wrote it about all. I used to have,
You wrote most of them. I had to change a few.
Oh, we could tell.
There was only about 2, I think, I put words in. But this one I actually wrote all the words to, and I used to have this little book I'd take around with me, and I probably owned it since I was like 17 or whatever. And I just take little notes here and there of just observations I took of people.
Yeah.
And how people perceived me even, but in different terms. Like how I am if I, you know, even normal or something, or, you know, like when I say normal, like if I haven't had a beer or something else, you know, and then
We've all
and then,
asked that question, I guess.
and then we'll, you know, and then there's a different perception of who you are after all that, or even my perception of those people, even, you know. So that's what that song was basically all about. And Smitty just put a cool little line to it at the start, and we're like, because there's like 2 parts to it, so it needs a heavy part to bring out the angst at the end, you know.
Is it weird for you to sing someone else's words?
Say that again.
Is it weird for you to be singing someone else's words?
No, because I could relate to what he was saying.
Yeah.
And he betrayed it really well to me when he explained what the song meant to him.
Yeah.
And I could see what he was saying.
Yeah,
and
cool.
so it was, all of a sudden, it just felt like, well, yeah, I'll carry that flag.
It's really cool, man, because there are a lot of singers out there who will
Precious.
just fucking refuse to sing anyone else's words if it's not written, you know, by them.
And I wouldn't have cared if you changed a word or two to make it suit the song as he's
For
singing
sure,
it
yeah.
or whatever, but as long as it had the same gist, I was, you know...
That's what makes a
make it
fucking good
grow,
band,
man.
though, isn't it? Is that everyone can contribute and be happy to say, well, this sucks, or fucking this is great, let's use this part. Compromise.
I think it has to.
Compromise, you know, it works.
I really think it has to work like that. I have had little projects, you know, with people where the people have just tried to take the reins fully, and when you put in the input and it just gets pushed aside, and it shouldn't work like that.
Yeah.
That was-
because everybody's not happy. You know?
I guess that's,
Well,
that's
luckily-
one thing with Michelin we did
Well,
was...
Yeah.
Let's listen to the results. Let's listen to people.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. This is
We've got
People Out There by our pals Michelin.
Rock and roll.
It's not boring, it's a shit night. I have no observation besides what I read. I have no sense, I have blood sight to take that life. It comforts me, it comforts me. Oh yeah. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me. People out there, people out there, yeah, 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 yeah.
People Out There by Michelin. That was fucking very, very, very nice.
It's a fucking good song, man. It's a good song.
Now, People Out There.
Different version to what everyone else has heard before.
That's true.
Because we're special.
Once again, Night Training exclusive. Speaking of people out there, when you're up there, you're looking out. There's no gig without a crowd, right?
Yep.
Now, funnily enough, by pure coincidence, one of the best Michelin fans has just gone fucking viral. Tell us about Johnny Purcell.
Johnny Purcell.
Perso.
Johnny, old crazy Johnny. Well,
Look,
Johnny.
just before you get into it, we
Come on,
might
gotta get
just
the fucking
refresh your
Centrelink.
memory a little bit. I've got the video fucking prepped for you. I'll play a little bit just so we can get a bit of a background on what's going on here.
Not really good. Sir, I don't really give a fuck. You know, I'm in lockdown. Now, what do you reckon? Hey? Mate, I live here, and you try to lock me out of bloody Wodonga and Albury? How am I supposed to get a Centrelink? No, that's what I'm really worried about, you know? You know? Well, mate, of course I do. Well, where else would I go? You know, where do I go?
Fuck it. Look, that guy's gone viral, man. You guys have a bit of a background with him, apparently. He's a bit of a Michelin fan, I hear.
He was a Michelin fanatic.
Here's the Johnny. Yeah, well, look, one of the funniest memories I've got so many of Johnny, but one of our funniest memories of Johnny was we played a gig at the Queen's Arms, you know, and It was one of the gigs. It was probably the heaviest gig I'd seen. I've got a feeling that Creed might have played the same night because there was a mood. There was a heavy mood about the whole scene. And anyway, so we got the PA stacks and everything knocked over and all this, ruckus going on, and everyone's getting right into this whole mosh pit, And so I'm front and centre, and anyway, Johnny comes. At the time, I'd just seen this body crowd surfing, and it comes and does a front flip right in front of me. Anyway, it just bang down right in front of me, and I sort of had to move out of the way. And I'm looking down, I just see these arms reach out from in the crowd, and they pulled Johnny up. As they pulled him into the crowd, he'd smashed the schooner glass with his back. And there were pieces embedded in his back as I'd just seen him disappear into the crowd, And
Poking through his Eels jersey.
he hadn't felt a thing.
It was like an Iggy Pop scene.
Man, yeah. And so I grabbed pieces out of his back and I started cutting myself.
Probably the most rational thing to do in that situation.
Well, the throat and all.
And that was Mishling's last show at the Queen's Arms.
Yeah, and Kenny said, you're bleeding, aren't playing here again. And I said...
I remember there was a couple of shows, man, where he got the shits because everyone got fucking wild and everything. And I was like I said, I was 10, 11 years old, and I thought it was incredible to see all that. Because, like I said earlier, the crowds were so diverse. You had the metal crowds, you had the grunge punk crowds, but you also had the fucking gladiators, the bikies.
And that's exactly what happened.
And those dudes were fucking... They didn't fuck about.
No, they didn't. And...
Tell that story.
Great segue to the next show. But so what we did at this next show, we were playing, and there was a whole heap of glads come down to watch. And anyway, they were having a barbie out the back.
Oh, I know this story.
Yeah, and all the windows are are open and everything. And I don't know if it was Diesel or one of the glads. Anyway, he didn't like the music. It was getting wasn't your pub rock and. He resented it. So next minute...
Should have played some Chisel.
I should have listened when he said it, hey, and so anyway...
son!
Well, I'm looking out the window and I'm just seeing these projectiles coming through the window at me, and it was sausages off the Barbie. So we were poor in them days, so I kept them for Doc.
Well, that
I
bloke...
played in trackies, I think.
Do you know how that story ended?
Please tell me.
So after the show had finished, the grandparents had fucking ripped into him, saying, "Listen, you carried on like a goose. You insulted our guests, blah blah blah." And the Glads, they had a lot of respect for my grandparents back then. So the two, whatever you call them, the seniors that were with him, belted the absolute fuck out of him out in the car park after the pub shut. For being a cunt to you guys. Yeah, man. Yeah.
And that was why we were never appreciated down at the Glads Club.
My nan got you guys fucking got him back. Got him
I
flogged.
want to see the post interview. You got flogged by a gladiator. Was that your plan?
And Doc owes me a lot, actually. We went down to the Glads Clubhouse one night and I had to take him out because all the girls were hitting on him. True story. I never told you so now. But while we're leaving, we just got to go, mate. And
it's the last place you want to fucking... I reckon it's the last place you want to get laid, just quietly.
Chicks loved Doco back in the day. I remember
Yeah,
that.
but...
Still do.
But if that chick's with a bikie, go home and have a pull, mate.
And that's the thing, his feet can't touch the pedal, so...
Picked him up, threw him over your shoulder.
They're still waiting to create an automatic, just click shift.
Still got to get a phone book though for the seat.
Yeah.
Is that why your drum stool's so low all the time?
Yeah, I've actually tried something different and put it up a bit. Yeah, just that.
We only could get him a 20-inch bass drum because that's the biggest kid sizes they make.
No, I think it's smaller now, man.
Well, you might fit better then.
I do.
At least we'll see you.
So 25 years later, you guys are still playing every once, and not enough. I mean, I got to whinge. Not enough. You guys should be playing every fucking week at the Raymond Terrace pub so I can come down and have a beer.
Lakeside Tavern, book Michelin.
Fuck yeah. But look,
And we'd play, we'd play.
the last time I saw you guys play was at
Thrashville.
a couple of years ago, which was a fucking terrific day. You guys ripped it. First time I'd seen you for a long time.
It was a lot of fun.
I believe you had like a 2-minute-old mohawk. Is that right? Did you do it just before you walked on?
That's right. Yeah, and had to get a random.
'Cause
Matt Osland.
I think it was Corby that goes, that cunt had a full head of hair 2 minutes ago.
Now, the lineup has changed a little bit. Am I right there, or is it still the same lineup from back in the day?
No, we started with Corby.
No, we did have another bass player before it, and there was Mark Fraser.
No,
actually
he
the
was
bass player for a
Corby
while.
started. Corby started with us, and
Also of Zambonomo. We've
What-
gone through that whole band.
Someone a minute.
well, what happened was Corb didn't have any like equipment at the time, and Mark Fraser had equipment. Was playing in a band called Renewal. Blah blah blah. Mark ended up joining the band because there was no way we could rehearse with someone that didn't have the gear at the time.
Yeah, of course.
And it wasn't until a bit later after that things
I was
didn't
actually-
work out with Phrase.
Yeah, I was actually finding it quite difficult to lock in big time with Phrase. Drums and bass are pretty important to lock in. And
That's not the same
we weren't
Mark
really
from
ch-
Michelin, from Swallow Tongue.
No.
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 R.I.P. Mark. No,
Mark.
no,
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
the same guy. Yeah, different fella. I don't even know what he's doing now, mate. Yeah, but we should mention Shawnee Mitchell, who was
Well, that's
originally
It was 5-piece.
there was Michelin was a 5-piece, and Shawnee Mitchell was
On the saxophone.
in the saxophone.
I'll tell you what, he was a damn good guitarist, and him and Shawnee and the rest of the band really worked well. But we played a gig with Abusement Park at the Bank Hotel. Yeah, and
At Maitland.
we played that fucking loud that it fucked Shawnee's ears up, and he got tinnitus.
Ah, fuck.
So 20 years later, his tinnitus is fucking pretty much gone. He's now playing with whatever.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
We got him back in the,
yeah.
doing heavy shit.
You mentioned Bank Hotel. As I said before, it was weird for me to picture the Queen's Arms to be a fucking heavy metal venue. What were some of the other venues that nowadays, Pacific Hotel, what was it called? Hunter on Hunter?
Hunter on
Hunter,
Hunter.
yeah, that was a good one.
What were some of the venues that nowadays you wouldn't even... Hunter on Hunter is gone. It's a uni
It's a
now.
uni now, yeah.
What venues would someone like me who's a bit younger look at and go, fuck that band, sure, that place surely never had metal gigs?
Ducks Nuts might have done that. I can't remember if they
Yeah,
did or
they
not.
did.
Yeah,
They did eventually in the... well, that was a bit later, though. That was around the, 2003, 2004. They started having original bands in. I played... Sid, you were there. I played a show there one night with my band, Prophet's Prophet, and fucking... There was 3 people in the bar, and 2 of them were fucking Sid and me mate Brett. Well, everyone, including Sid and Brett, watched the TVs behind us, which was playing fucking, what was it, Sid? Stargate. Yeah. Stargate. So, man, yeah, we were that entertaining that Stargate got more views than we did.
Episode 2.
Stargate without sound or subtitle.
But the point is, the Ducks Nuts tried. That's the point. At the end of the day.
Yeah,
They
no,
gave it a
and-
crack and it didn't work.
And again, it comes back to, I think a lot of venues fuck it up because they don't treat the bands as a genuine thing and fucking sit there and look down at the bands. Like, Hunter on Hunter worked so good because it would give anyone a go. And so did Queen's Arms. And they wouldn't make you feel like, yeah, you had to pay $50 sometimes to play at the Hunter on Hunter. You had to pay $50. But we did it because we wanted the gig. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
That was it. It's what you did back then. It's what you
That's
wanted.
right.
You had to do it.
Jay and I have spoken about this quite a bit. We are of the belief that if a venue puts a bit of money in, puts bands on, fucking pays the bands, blah, 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 we kind of think, and maybe it's just hopeful, wishful thinking, that the crowd will come. So if a band puts a bit of money in, they should ideally make it back over the bar. And to me, it feels like, other than some of the pubs we mentioned earlier, every time a venue hears about a gig, they go, okay, well, we're going to charge them this for this, and this for this, and this for this.
Yeah.
I feel like if more venues just, I guess, put their money where their mouth was and said, we'll pay the band, you bring the crowd.
Well, that's how it was in the Queen's Arms days.
It was, yeah.
Nen and Dar would give a percentage of the back bar,
Yeah, that's right.
which was always the fucking bigger bar of the night.
But they
Always.
fucking never said that one as much as the front bar. So what would happen was fucking we'd be sitting there
Fucking
arguing.
cunts
We'd sit there and go, come on, Kenny, fucking half of our fucking people had to walk out the front to get the beer that night, you know? And he'd be like, oh, yeah, righto.
Oh, yeah, that's him, man. Oh, righto.
Yeah, and
And then, just pay the boys, Ken. Just
That's how it would have been too.
Yeah, man.
It should have been like
She was
come
very
on.
forgiving.
Our crowd had to go to the front bar 2 times.
Two times.
Not twice,
Not
two
twice.
times.
A fucking spastic.
So you mentioned whatever before. What else, other than whatever, and obviously you're in Johnson City and a few other things, what are you guys doing nowadays outside of the occasional Missling gig?
Pretty much whatever's it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to do some other stuff, but yeah, I think my main focus is, look, let's get these songs right. We've had an issue trying to get a drummer for whatever, and so it's become our style now to play by a drum
pretty aggressive
process
stuff.
drum track. And it's pretty intense stuff. And
Where did I see you? Maitland Park?
Maitland Park, yeah, we played there.
And yeah, it was a drum machine. And, I think I was standing near you. I was standing near someone, and I said, "Fuck, how are they going to get a drummer to play this shit?"
Yeah, well, hopefully they're out there. You know, I look at bands like Annihilator and I think, well, surely there's got to be someone around. You know, like
But you can be a bigger band without a drummer. Didn't Berserker?
Berserker did that for a bit, and and there's been a lot of bands that have,
Yeah,
but that the longevity of that band is sort of determined by how the crowd responds
Yep.
to them doing that. I guess it's becoming a bit more accepted these days. I think. Personally, I still prefer myself to have the drummer,
Yep.
but you piss with the dick you got.
That's it.
You know, I look down and
Unfortunately.
moan every time. You know, it's one of those things that better pass one over here too, eh?
Oh, mate, I've just been doing a few cover things, mate. You know, at the moment, and then Johnson City.
You've got Johnson City, yeah.
Doing Johnson City as well. So
There's another bloke who doesn't know how good he is, by the way. Dan.
Dan, mate, brilliant songwriter.
Yeah.
Completely different to probably anything I've really done before.
Should be.
know.
Man, their parents have got some good fucking reproductive organs. I got to say that those boys can fucking both sing.
Matt and Dan are musically fucking excellent. And
Yeah.
Their brother's an actor as well, I believe.
That's right.
From what I can tell.
Very
So,
good at what he does
yeah.
too. Yes.
Artistic family.
Yep.
Good on him.
That's
Bruce
right.
Willis.
Huh?
Bruce Willis.
Oh,
No.
fuckhead.
Sorry, wrong.
Bruce Willis is not their brother.
Well, I'll tell you, he could have been.
Who knows what? Who knows what the fuck?
Striking good looks and all that.
Who knows?
That's right.
Who knows what Dash was up to to Squally?
Yeah, well, I think a couple of times he's been Dash, you know.
Earlier this year, the Dashville guys decided to bring back the Thrashville Festival.
man.
Thank fuck.
I reckon.
We were at the last one with Frenzel and King Parrot, which was a fucking terrific day. We there was some rumor going around that you guys might be on the next one. Can we hear
Oh shit!
anything
Really?
about that?
I've never.
I don't know.
Never heard that.
Jay has just started this
Something
rumor.
floated around.
I'm starting it. Yeah, I'm starting a rumor. Rumors start somewhere and it's starting here.
Yeah, well, look, there has been some talks in depth about it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, we don't want to be the Farnsey tour where we just keep coming out of, retirement, and because someone wants to do a gig, they've got to buy the next album first. So, we're in deep riding.
They got to buy the greatest hits at Christmas time before. That's right.
So can you ever see Michelin being the full-time focus ever again, or is it always going to be just this
I don't-
party type mood?
No, I don't think so.
Party
Do
time.
you?
Yeah.
No. Look.
I think it works well. Anything you guys do fucking works. So, and whatever you're doing now is working for me.
Everybody's busy. Corby runs his own business and everything as well, and he's got his own Bonomo. He's got a lot of things on his plate. Smitty's he's quite busy with his job and everything too, and family. He's hard to track down on that at times. Everyone's got things on the fly going, so we're always happy to come and have a jam at maybe something every now and then. We played at a wedding as an exclusive sort of a gift for a friend.
Fucking
That was,
hell.
that was a
That'd have been
lot of
fucking
fun.
awesome.
It was
Hell of a
great.
wedding
It was a lot of
band.
fun.
I tried to get Gay Paris at my wedding, and
did, yes.
they wouldn't do it. But,
Well, 4 of them turned up for that wedding, I can tell you. Yeah, neck up, mate. Yeah, right, eh?
So we if we do something, it'll be probably something exclusive, like for a Thrashville or something like that. I haven't heard anything about
Does that
going
keep-
to the next one though. But we do.
I think Jay's pulled that out of his ass. Just
Lenny
quietly.
told me
That's
ages
cool.
ago, but I don't know.
Does that keep it special?
Good
for you?
rumour.
Does that keep it special for you, like if it is? just-
Absolutely.
yeah.
Spot on. Look, we're mates.
Always will be.
Myself, Smitty and Corby, we're schoolmates, and Simo's a few years older, and he came into us as a brother. So you know, we're mates, we're brothers,
Yeah.
we're all that. Like probably most bands are.
Yeah.
We
You
all
guys
are.
just click on stage as well. I mean,
And we do.
I've never seen a bad performance. You guys are so fucking tight. You know, like when it was like 2 years ago, the last time I saw you, but it was like watching you back when you were a fucking 17-year-old
Yeah.
sneaking into the Queen's Arms. you
Yeah,
know?
man.
nicer gear, better musos
Spot
too,
on.
and knowing what they want out of the song more. So like we all went through the early stages of just wanting to fucking belt it out, or at least I felt that way.
Yeah.
These days, I think we hear the song and we hear the journey of the song, and we can reflect on what it felt to us when we played it years ago, and we can take it that little bit further to what we always envisioned with the view of what we were trying to portray, I guess. And with the better gear and that understanding, I think it lends to a better song. And a better performance live these days. Like, even though we might be older, there's still those elements there that we can find where we want to be in that song and still be able to do it. We're not in wheelchairs yet trying to roll around.
Does being a bit older make you want to do better as well? Because I remember I played in originals bands from probably 18 to 23.
Yeah, it does.
And I don't reckon I ever did a sober gig.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I would have been the same, and if not way stoned or something, you know. And you look at a lot of those gigs where you fucked up because you went for things that you shouldn't have gone for in the first place. I guess I do that vocally, but at the same time, you sort of look at that as an experience and go, well, I went for it. Who cares?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I did it.
When
I
you're young,
fucked it up.
you give less of a fuck, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
You do.
And you know, some of them pull off, so
Yeah.
then they become a part of the song next gig.
Yeah,
you
nice.
know, it's
Have you guys got a favourite Michelin song that you've written or recorded or whatever over the years?
you know, I'll let Doc answer this himself, but I personally feel that they change for me.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. I really think that's a good thing. I think that that's what makes it timeless for me, and a great experience is that I can reflect on a song, and depending on the mood I'm in, which is, you know, a big part of it, determines what song I'm going to play that day. And yeah, I think that's special, you know.
Awesome.
Do you find the lyrics, I guess, resonate the same now as when you wrote them?
Some of them do, some definitely don't. I've grown up in ways where I would sort of go, well, that's what I did then, but I don't think that way particularly
Yeah.
now. Certain things about religion, certain things about, you know, I guess racism and learning how to not be offensive
Yeah.
in a way that where I didn't give a fuck, I sort of understand how it is offensive now.
Yeah. I mean, you can not give a fuck without trying to piss people off too, if that makes sense.
That's right. And
He's
But learning is
He's
it?
learning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
and that's half the battle.
and sort of knowing the line that you shouldn't go past,
Yeah.
like that, on a personal scale, you know, if you sat there and crossed that line, and I did it many times due to many different reasons, but I think that having the respect for people, there was moments where I was disrespectful, and I sort of would go, well,
Wouldn't do that.
when I
again.
didn't give a fuck, that's like, hang on, like, be a bit more respectful.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, have appreciation.
I mean, you can not give a fuck without being a cunt. I think that's what we're all trying to do, I suppose.
That's right. And it's when you cross that boundary
Yeah.
of actually you are being a cunt,
Yeah,
that's when you sort of need to realise yourself, put your fucking head in, mate.
yeah, yeah.
Learning from it is what is in fucking important, man. Like it's hard to not move forward if you're ridiculed for shit you've done for fucking 20 years ago or
Totally.
whatever. Learning from what you've done and what you've said or whatever is a massive part of it.
By chance, if you guys, if you guys received national acclaim back in the day, if someone looked back now and said, "Oh, they got a swastika on their fucking thing," you guys would be the worst pricks in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. And certain people tried to explain that to us, and I was blind to that at the time. I was like, fuck you, we'll do what we do.
Of course.
And not that, I think people portray things a lot more instant these days than what we sort of took them for, like, literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Like people get too literal these days, and they look at someone, they automatically assign someone a fucking, in their mind, these must be this sort of person.
Well,
And
I guess one of the classic ones for me is personally the Lemmy documentary came out many, many years ago, and he has World War II and World War One and all this kind of shit hanging in his house. He got called a Nazi, and he's like, no, I enjoy. I don't enjoy war, but I'm interested in it, and I have this. Like, it's like all these people that listen to true crime podcasts. They're not pro murder.
They're just historians or people that actually appreciate a moment and understand what that moment is. And a lot of, there's a part of it you sort of sit there and go, well, they shouldn't matter a fuck. But everybody matters a fuck, really. And whether you like that person likes you, it's still relevant. It's fucking, and you should have the respect for that person in a way, which sounds ridiculous because a part of music sort of says fucking write what you enjoy, and then there's people that say, oh, you should play for the people. Fuck it. Play for yourself.
Play for yourself, man.
Play for yourself.
If you're playing for the people, it's not going to be good.
No,
never is.
Because the people change.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're dynamic, and they go with the current trend. And if you're that person that thinks that you want to be somebody and you've got to be this way to be somebody, well, next week you need to be someone else.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people miss that point.
It's true. It's true. Well, it's evident, I guess, being through music, you guys have grown up and grown as people. Other than personal, I don't want to use the word improvement, but personal growth. What has being a musician for 30 plus years brought to you guys?
Probably focus more than anything, just whatever you're doing.
Yep.
Whether it be musical or not, but mostly musical. You just say I get a song from Dan saying, here it is. I want you to play a beat to that. You're like, well, what do you mean? Well, what beat do you want? That's like, I can fucking do 16s in that, or I can, well, what do you want? And he's just like, feel it out, So we have a jam, whatever, and he usually gets there and goes, oh, it's great, but then it'll change down the, about an hour later it'll change, and that's great.
Yeah.
And I can focus on that, and then be able to put my own little spin on things. Just, I guess, try to be a bit more professional about the whole approach to it.
Yeah, understanding your songs definitely a big part of it. You can see a song so many ways of what someone's creating, and it's knowing what they want to get out of it and seeing their vision, I guess. That's definitely how I feel these days too, is that with the heavier stuff that we're doing with whatever, there's a reason, and you need to look into the lyrics to understand the whole song, like you're not going to hear the lyrics. Well, sorry, but you're going to have to read them if you can't understand them. We should have to spell them out to you.
Well, you said it the other week on Dashhill TV. You said people seem to listen to metal and go, oh, they're just screaming and they're just playing whatever. I was like, well, yeah, but there's an art to it. There's a science to it.
It's an expression. It's still an expression of,
that's
of,
right.
of art.
That's 100%. It's an expression. It's an art. It's also a way of, like, expression's probably the key. You need to be. You don't go and tell someone about something that you're cranky about and expect them to listen sometimes without screaming in their face. Like it's all of those things together, is that people miss the point because they think, oh, that's a shit song because he's yelling and screaming. Well, Bond's done it for years, and
there's probably a reason he's yelling and screaming.
That's right. Like cranky songs need cranky attitude, and soft songs need whatever they want to portray, whether it's a morbid feel or whether it's a nice feel.
And there's beauty in both.
That's right. There's beauty in all of it, and you just got to find it in how it relates to you.
Now, the beauty in songs is super important. Now, I want to know about the beauty in Smurf pudding.
Smurf pudding was originally black pudding.
Oh, it was.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. Smurf pudding
would
has
not have
been
held
my
the
favourite
reputation.
Michelin song since I was a little kid. It just stayed with me. I think it's because the whole fucking Smurf thing and the outro to that song it's always stuck with me. So tell me a bit about that. How the fuck did Smurf pudding come about?
Well,
If you went on mushrooms, I won't believe you.
Well, I'm sure they were dabbling in there somewhere, but the thing was the boys had the song written, and I was always try to find a picture in my head what this means to me and that music and how that reflects and whatever comes up. And it originally was Black Pudding, but it wasn't. I
That
like
fucking chicks in the arse, wasn't it? Was that why you called it black pudding?
Black Pudding, mate. It was, and without them having a poo. So that was usually the first thing we had to deal with. Was how you going to get the smell off. So anyway, but yeah, so Corby sort of brought me to it one night.
Give it a
and said-
PG rating.
He said, mate, you know, I think I like the Smurfs, and you should too. and I saw that female one. I couldn't think of her name.
Smurfette, mate.
Smurfette.
Always etched in my brain.
You know, and she was like the Miss
was
Piggy
hot.
of Smurfs, and it was all of a sudden I just had this weird feeling I need a sex change, and after a couple of checks at the thing, he said, "I think you've already had one," and I said, well, well, when he said clit dick, I got really offended, all right. Oh, yeah. But, you know, I was understanding what he was saying. And so we wrote this song. And the next thing I knew is that actually other people could relate to it. And there were more than just me. So we all got in contact and we started this group called Clit Dicks Association.
This is just going somewhere, isn't it? Yeah.
And it was like, you know, a lot of people had come straight over from AA. And no, look, we'll take anyone at the moment, you know, we need numbers. So we took them in and, you know, and the song was written.
So it's basically fuck me dead. Gargamel's revenge, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was the time that Gargamel actually felt he got one back on the Smurfs, you know. No, true story. It was almost like, you know, when you used to watch the Roadrunner shows and you always feel for coyotes. Oh, for fuck's sake. You need to stop.
This has been Sid's argument for three decades, man.
Why the fuck do you buy Acme? You need to get Tandy, you know what I mean? Like fucking... Yeah. And so I just thought, well, actually, what would happen if Gargamel got one of his spells right? And that's where it led to. Was like, you know what? He is the good guy. They're the bad shit. And
They reckon he's lawn.
Smurfette's in for it, you know. And she was.
The outro to that song, which everyone's going to hear in fucking about 3 minutes, was that recorded by everybody? Who done the...
Yeah, Headman.
Yeah, that was all of us. That was with Tony Heads, yeah. And you'll hear the clanging bell of the glass, and that's Doco to his new 1990.
Something like that. Yeah. With Smitty, that was. Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, and they
Smitty.
cheers
to his
and-
draft back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's on
Yeah,
to
something like that. Yeah.
It'd be Coopers nowadays.
But we actually, when we play this song, we've got a totally different intro. You know, because one day we still think we may do a recording. It's very surprising. We'd love to record every single song that we do.
Yeah.
Again. So,
I'd like to hear that, actually. It'd be fucking great.
Well, it'd be something that we probably wouldn't really, you know, release out too much, but we give it to our friends, and whoever wants a copy can have one. I guess it's probably just.
We'll take one.
Does that seem more realistic nowadays? Because recording's so fucking can be, so cheap.
Well, it can be. I guess we just want to do it
We could record it.
so we could have something. Well, we don't have them songs anymore. If we don't really play that often, we may never play again. We don't know. You know what I mean? So if we've got them songs, we've got them. You know, we can still go back on them in time. You know?
Is there anything from the EP that you don't play anymore? You
No.
play everything.
Yeah,
from,
basically what's on the EP, we'll make sure they're in whatever show we do. Yeah.
Are there any songs from back when you were kids that you won't play now because of connotations or anything like?
What Michelin songs? Yeah, there has been a couple. There's a couple. One called Captive Feathers that we used to play, and it was just one of those ones that got. We did a lot of time with that. Had a few years with that, and they would just let that one go. Hampton Thought was probably another one we haven't really jumped back on. We wrote a song about Hampton Court, where Simo used to live, and called it Hampton Thought. And we don't do that anymore either.
No, and I think certain songs and certain gigs call for certain songs, and you know, if you've got a song that's not going to fit the crowd, I think sometimes why play it? You know what I mean? Like it's Hampton Thought was almost a hill. I don't know, some sort of hillbilly sort of weird thing, you know, and it fits an album. It fits an album, but it doesn't fit a live gig sometimes.
Yeah, true,
and,
true.
You know, so that's why we pull back on a lot of those songs, but they're still nice to have for different times.
Awesome. So what's next for you guys? Where do we go from here?
Maybe one day doing the recording, as I said, and that can be something we can keep forever. And our friends and whoever wants a copy, man, fuck, we'll probably just throw you as a copy. We're not looking at making money off it. We'll spend the money, I guess, making it and making it properly and doing a good job.
We
But,
don't need
you
the
know,
money, but I'd like Johnny Purcell being the MC, you know. How the fuck's mixing? Fucking these cunts went to centering.
Well, look, on that note,
you can tell everyone how he hit Quinny for 6 that time.
fuck it, look, on that note, boys, shout out to fucking to your mate Johnny.
Purcell.
Johnny Purcell. What a legend, guys!
What a
thank you
legend.
so much for
Thanks for having us.
being
Thanks
here.
for breaking us in.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
it's
thanks.
been incredible, and we sincerely hope you guys come back and have some more beers and smoke some weed with us. It'd be terrific.
Look, when all the drug testing's over with my work, I'll smoke as much weed as I'm allowed to. All right, you know, it's one thing I do miss being in that industry of drug testing / working for the man, and eventually I intend to own the company that brings marijuana into Australia.
Well,
And
we can help
says,
you with
fuck you to the man. We're going to tax this cunt. No worries, tax me. I'm going to make fucking 20 million this year. Fuck you.
that.
If anything's going to bring this country out of a recession, it is legalizing marijuana.
Mate,
As someone,
You could be onto something, man.
as someone who's
Fucking
worked from
oath,
home for 4 months, I can guarantee it.
As someone who has smoked from home for the last 4 months,
honestly,
it'd be great.
if they're going by coughing on COVID, they are only testing the fucking pot smokers because we all cough in the morning. It was, it was one of those things.
You always wake up with a cough and a stiffy.
Mate, and I tell you, if you have a close look at Johnny Purcell in that clip, you'll see him holding the VB cam, but you spin it around, there's holes in it.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, fuck, look, boys, thank you so much for coming around. Please come back. We'd love to have you here at never sure where the fuck we are. Thank you so much for listening to Night Train.
Rock and roll Night Train.
Night Train Radio, boys, we're back. Take care.